Hi everyone, it's Vicki from Minerva and welcome to our Fabric Masterclass series. So this video series is designed to complement the Minerva Fabric Guide, which is the ultimate guide to learn all about fabrics, especially for dressmaking. So the guide covers everything from the fundamental basics of fabrics through to all about different fibres and of course what styles, different types of fabrics are suitable for making. And in the last chapter or section of the guide, we cover 70 of the most popular base cloths, and each of them actually come with a physical swatch of fabric as well, so you can get hands-on learning as you work your way through the guide. And if you are interested in purchasing a copy of the Minerva Fabric Guide, they are in stock now at Minerva and we can ship them out worldwide. So wherever you're watching us from, you can get your hands on a copy if you wish. So in this masterclass video series, myself and Jo, who you'll probably know from the channel, we have filmed 2 videos to go with each of the 70 base cloths that are featured in the guide. So we're going to work through the guide alphabetically through those 70 base cloths. So today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Dupion and Shantung fabrics. So in my video I've got some samples out to show you fabrics from the range that we stock here at Minerva, so we'll take a good look at those and on what Dupion and Shantung fabric is. And I've also got a stack of patterns to share with you to give you lots of ideas on the sorts of things you can make with this base cloth. And then in Jo's video that's coming to the channel later today, Jo will guide you through on how to sew with Shantung and Dupion fabric. And as always with Jo's videos, it's packed full of hints and tips, and there's always something new to learn with sewing, isn't there? And she'll also be sharing some maker community inspiration from the Minerva website as well, just to so you can see what other people in the sewing community have been making with this fabric, and just to give you lots more inspiration on what you can make with this fabric as well. So let's get stuck in. So like I mentioned, in the Minerva Fabric Guide, the back section of the guide, we cover 70 base cloths, and each base cloth gets its own 2-page spread. So this is the one on Dupion and Shantung fabric. So let's have a look at what Dupion and Shantung is, and I'll just hold out the first sample as well so we can be having a look at this whilst I chat about the base cloth itself. So Dupion and Shantung fabrics, we have put these 2 names of fabric together on the one page in the Minerva Fabric Guide. And the reason for that is because they are so similar and often used interchangeably. And we wanted to pack as much information as we could possibly do into the Minerva Fabric Guide. So yeah, because these 2 are so closely related, they've both gone onto the one page. So Dupion or Shantung fabric is a woven fabric. It's traditionally made from silk, but other synthetic versions are now available, such as polyester, and that's commonly what you will find in this fabric. Now Dupion fabric, so what makes it different to other base cloths is that it has a slightly coarse texture with little slubs woven in. So these little slubs are like little raised bumps in the surface texture of the fabric, and it's what creates the fabric's texture. With these, the yarns that are woven in actually thickens and has little twists actually in the weaving, and that's what creates these little slubs of texture. It's a very tightly woven fabric, and it has a very sort of highly lustrous surface. So it's not necessarily shiny as such, but it's very lustrous. And it does have a crisp, firm handle that lends itself, to tailoring and more structured garments, anything where you want to hold a shape. Now Shantung is very similar to Dupion, like I said. The difference is that it just has fewer slubs, so it provides a more even kind of regular, less textured appearance. But the 2 names, are often used interchangeably, but technically that is the difference. And then you'll also find a satin-backed Dupion or Shantung, and that's a reversible fabric, so you can use either side, and it has a shiny side on the reverse, and then obviously a completely matching matte texture on the front of the fabric. But with that type of fabric, there isn't really a right, a face and a reverse, because you can use either side of the fabric. And what can be really effective and really lovely is actually using both sides of the fabric in the same garment, you know, for sort of contrasting textures. So that's an overview of Dupion and Shantung fabric. Now in the fabric guide we do also cover weight, opacity, drape, stretch, washing instructions, recommended needle, sewing tips, all that information, and of course what you can make with this fabric as well, which is really what my video is focusing on today. So Dupion fabric is ideal for special occasion wear. I'd say that's where it's most popular. So think things like evening gowns, suits, jackets, skirts, dresses, trousers, all with a more formal kind of feel, and even wedding dresses and bridesmaid dresses as well. And I would say with Dupion or Shantung fabrics, it predominantly comes in a range of plain solid colours. So you will find prints available, but you know, they are less common in this fabric. Generally speaking, it's more, you know, you will find it more in plains and solids. So let's take a look at the samples I've got. Now I have 3 different ranges to show you here. So, you know, it is a smaller category as Dupion and Shantung, but these fabrics do come with, you know, there's lots of colours available in these, which is often, you know, what you'll find when you're looking for fabrics that are often used for bridal wear and, you know, bridesmaid dresses, wedding gowns, that sort of thing, so that you can find a good match to the theme for your wedding. So first of all, let's take a look at this fabric. So this one is our Minerva core range, Shantung Dupion fabric. It's made from 100% polyester. It's approximately 147 centimetres or 57 inches wide, and it's 150 GSM, grams per square metre, and that puts it into our light to medium weight category here at Minerva. So this is, yeah, it's a lovely quality fabric, this one. You know, it's a fantastic value fabric, you know, with it being made from synthetic fibres. Like I do have a silk option coming up next to show you, and obviously the price points on between the polyester and the silk do vary quite a lot. And what you'll see with this fabric, so you know, you may struggle to see this on camera, but it does have the slubby texture that I was talking about. And if you do want to see that more up close, we do have some up close videos and photographs on our website where you can really see that texture. And as well, what is sort of not unique to this fabric, but a characteristic of this fabric is that crisp, firm handle that it has. So obviously it's only a light to medium weight fabric, so it's not thick and bulky when we talk about structured fabrics. It is still lightweight, but can you see how it, you know, it's not very soft and drapey. It will hold its shape. You know, if I hold it up like this, for example, can you see how it's, you know, it's just holding its shape really well. If you've ever come across taffeta fabric before, I always think they have a similar sort of handle in that they're lightweight and you know, but still have that crispness and firmness to them. And then with this particular range, which like I said does come in loads of different colours, it does have a slightly satin finish on the back. So it's not actually classed as a satin backed Dupion is this one, which I do have a sample of that to show you later, but it does have a contrast on both sides, so you could use either for your project or, you know, a combination of both. So yeah, it's a really lovely base cloth, that one, and yeah, for all of the patterns that I'm going to share with you in a minute, this base cloth would be fantastic. Now the next fabric I've got to share with you, so this is our Minerva core range, 100% silk Shantung Dupion. So yeah, made from 100% silk fibres, extremely luxurious. This one is 137 centimetres wide or 53 inches, and this one is just 114 grams per square metre. So that puts it in our light to medium weight category still, but it is lighter in weight than the last one. And you can tell that when you handle this fabric. Now obviously I'm showing you this in an ivory colour and you can see through it slightly. So, you know, depending what you're making, you're likely going to want to line that fabric, especially in the lighter colour like this. But yeah, this one, I would say this one has a slightly different slub weave. Very, very similar, but yeah, just, you know, you can tell it's produced slightly differently. And I would say it's got a slightly less slubs than the last fabric. It's still got that firmness and crispness, even though it's such a lightweight fabric. You know, again, it's really going to kind of hold its shape, you know, depending what you're making. And I think the pure silk version of this base cloth, this very often comes in for wedding gowns and, you know, very special occasions, because, you know, it is such a luxurious fabric. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And when you handle this, you can tell it's silk. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then the last fabric I've got to share with you, so this one is our Minerva Core range satin backed Dupion fabric. So this is 100% polyester. It is 112 centimetres or 44 inches wide approximately, and this one is only actually 105 grams per square metre, which again puts it in our light to medium weight category. However, so it is the lightest weight one technically that I'm showing you. However, I think because of that satin finish on the reverse, it just gives it's one of those that's deceiving. It feels heavier than it actually is, and it's not sheer at all, so you won't need to worry about that with this one. Now the weave on this one is definitely, I'd say, the most textured of the three. Yeah, there's lots of slubs woven into this fabric, and you can, you know, it may be hard to pick up on camera, but when you see it in the flesh, you can really see the texture in this fabric. It's gorgeous. And then the main standout feature with this one is that gorgeous satin on the reverse. I mean, it's such a high gloss satin, that one. It's beautiful. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, with fabrics like this, you can use either side as the correct, you know, as the face, the front of the fabric. Or you can combine both, you know, perhaps if you're making like a suit jacket and you wanted maybe the lapel in the satin, or, you know, you're making a dress and maybe, you know, some of the details on it you wanted in the satin. A lovely idea that I've seen before as well is when people make, you know, whatever, you know, any kind of style of garments, if it has buttons on it, they're making self-covered buttons and covering them with the satin side on the button and the rest of the garment in the mat. That can be a really lovely feature as well. So it just gives you, you know, lots of opportunities to be a bit more creative with this fabric. And this one, with it being a Minerva Core range again, it does come in a whole range of colours. So yeah, there's loads to choose from on the website. So that's all the fabrics I've got to share with you today. So now let's have a look at some patterns. So I've got a whole stack of patterns here to share with you, and like I mentioned earlier, you know, Dupion and Shantung fabric, it definitely suits a more formal kind of garment, you know, special occasion wear. It's not something that you often see in sort of more casual everyday wear kind of clothes, and the pattern choices I've picked, you know, definitely reflect that. So let's have a look at the patterns, and I have we will insert some images as we go through so you can see the patterns as I'm chatting about them. So first of all, I've got a bunch of dresses. Dresses is just very popular for this kind of fabric, but I've also got some other styles at the end as well. So first up, we've got Vogue patterns 1884, and you will notice that there are quite a few Vogue patterns in the selection I've picked today. I just think Vogue do formal wear and special occasion wear very, very well. So this first pattern is gorgeous, and the pink view sewn up on the envelope, I think, could well be a Dupion or Shantung fabric. If not, this fabric will give a very close look to that. So this is a gorgeous square neckline, lined dress. It's close fitting through the bust and the waist, and then it has this big flared skirt with these diagonal gathered details under the waistline. So to me, this dress is all about the shape and impact of that skirt, and you want a really crisp square neckline, and sewing it in Dupion and Shantung fabric would absolutely give you that result. You know, the crisp firmness, structured feel of the fabric would hold that the shape of that skirt fabulously. The gathers are going to sit really proud, which is what you want on a dress like this, and you're going to be able to achieve a really lovely crisp finish as well. So yeah, lovely. I really love that combination. Next up, we've got Vogue 2010, and this is a very, very elegant, beautiful dress. I would love to have the opportunity to wear something like this sometime soon. So this is another close-fitting, underlined and lined open back trumpet dress. So that's where it's very fitted all the way down, and then at the bottom it kind of flares out, similar in a way to a mermaid style dress. It's got princess seams, and then it's got this board detail at the back with the halter neck and the back straps. So lots and lots of details on this pattern. But I think again the sort of the structured nature of the fabric is going to work really well for the, you know, the close fitted bodice and sort of upper part of the skirt. But then, you know, the fact that this fabric will hold its shape is going to mean that that trumpet flared out part of the skirt is going to hang as it should do. If you used a fabric that was too soft and drapey for this style, it's just going to all hang very straight, and that's not really what you want, you know, if you want a trumpet style dress. So yeah, that will be a fabulous combination. Next up, we've got another pattern with drama. So this is Vogue 2087, and this is, oh, it's a fabulous dress with and it's really, the main feature is all about these flounce sort of sleeves in a way. So yes, it has a button closure with a collar detail or a collarless option. These flounced sleeves, as they're calling them, that sort of work their way across the bodice and then over kind of like the shoulder come sleeve area. It's got princess seams, ties at the back, and then also what I love on this pattern is that it uses horsehair in the hem, which that's something we stock here at Minerva, and it's literally just a braid that you add into the bottom of hems, and it gives the skirt extra flare, which is lovely. Will work really well with the Dupion. So yeah, I think with a pattern like this, that flounce, to achieve the look similar to what's on the envelope where those flounces stand proud, you need a fabric with a little bit of crispness and structure, and again, you know, Dupion is perfect for that. Next up, I've got a slightly more simple dress. So this again is another Vogue pattern, number 8997, and this is quite a simple V neckline, princess seamed dress that has all different sleeve options, and it also has the option for a more fitted straight skirt or a fuller flared skirt. And I thought this was a really good example of where, you know, whether you want a more fitted silhouette or the big skirt, either of those will work really well in the Dupion and Shantung. You know, you've got enough structure for the straight silhouette to, you know, to sit well. But also, if you want the fullness in that flared skirt, then, you know, the crispness and structure again of Dupion will work really well for that. And then the next dress I've got is Vogue 2047. Now this is, this pattern, you really need a fabric with some structure and crispness. So if you look at the shape of those points at the sort of at the neckline, it's a strapless dress, and then if you look at that bow on the front that ties, and you know, that would be, I'm sure Esme will be happy with that bow from the Sewing Bee because it's a fabulous statement bow. It's all really about those two features on this pattern. Now it's a close fitting lined strapless dress, and you know, it has this, like I said, this draped bodice with the bow detail, and then it's fully interlaced, and it has this built-in foundation on this pattern, which is, you know, something that I think, you know, you find that kind of detail on a Vogue pattern. So all of this detail on the front is basically decoration, but the foundation and what fits you and what keeps that dress looking really good on the body is this foundation that's built in underneath. So yeah, for all the different factors that come into this dress, the Dupion and Shantung will be wonderful for it. It's not too heavy, not too thick, but it has the right firmness and crispness and structure that you would need for a pattern like that. And then the last dress I've got is Vogue 1963, and this is a 1948 reissue vintage style pattern, and it is just the most fabulous ball gown, really. I don't think dress is enough to describe this style. It's absolutely gorgeous. So again, this is a strapless style, and again it has almost like a point detail at the neckline, but very different to the last pattern. So it's actually a three-piece flared skirt joined to the yoke with a very full overskirt that falls in these like cascading kind of ruffles at the side. So the overskirt is short at the front and then goes full length at the back. It's It's absolutely gorgeous. And then that skirt joins at the bodice, at the waistline. It's got, like I say, it's got this strapless bodice, and that's finished off with a shaped cuff band that works from the points at the front all the way around to the back, where it goes a little bit lower at the back. Just so many beautiful details. I think if you're into vintage style, I think you would love that pattern. But again, you know, with the Dupion and Shantung, you've got the perfect balance of crispness, weight, structure and body. It's going to hold the crisp points on that bodice, and the ruffles or the sort of cascading folds of that skirt, it will hang really well. Yeah, it would just be absolutely gorgeous. And perhaps that's an example of where, you know, on the skirt, you know, perhaps the main base of the skirt could be in, you know, the matte side of the fabric, and perhaps the overskirt could be in the shiny side, something like that. Yeah, it would be lovely. Next up, so this actually has a dress in the pattern, but it was actually the jumpsuit as well that I was looking at. So this is McCalls 7789, and this is one of those patterns where you can really kind of mix and match from all the different details that they include. So you have different options for the bodice and the neckline, but lots of them include like little cutout details. And then for the skirt or the trouser, you know, you've got a full, well, more like an A-line or kind of flared skirt, or for the jumpsuit, you've got the quite wide leg trousers. And I think, you know, if you're going to be making trousers or a jumpsuit, you want something with a little bit of fullness. Really suits the Dupion and Shantung, you know, to kind of create a drama and a statement. But I also thought the cutout details on this are a good example of you know, another type of style that really suits this sort of fabric. So those cup details with the cutouts or the little ties, again, all that's gonna fit, and it's just gonna sit really well on the body because of the structure and the crispness and the kind of firm handle that you get with Dupion and Shantung. You know, it's just kind of hold its shape and stay in place. And yeah, I think that'd be a lovely combination. Next up, I've got a trouser pattern. So this is Vogue 1910, and yeah, actually the version on the envelope, the pink version, reminded me of the Dupion Shantung fabric. So with these trousers, they are very wide leg, and the main feature on them is this fabulous pleat, these pleat details that work into the waistband at the front of the trouser. And for something like that, you know, if you used a soft draping fabric, it just wouldn't give you the same kind of look as what they've achieved on the front of the envelope. You know, you wouldn't really get the drama from those pleats the same. But with a fabric like Dupion and Shantung that, you know, is more crisp and structured, you would really see those pleats fabulously, and it will make a really statement sort of detail on those trousers. It would be lovely. Next up, we've got the Harriet Jacket from Style Art Patterns. So this is a really popular jacket in the Minerva sewing community. And I thought, you know, if you're, say you were like wanting to make a mother of the bride outfit, or, you know, something like that, you know, a jacket for a special occasion, this could be really lovely. So it's a shorter, slightly more cropped, very boxy kind of jacket. It's got a collar detail and, well, two different options for the collar detail and a button fastening. It's got darts for a little bit of shaping in the body section, and it also has a dart on the sleeve as well for a lovely shape. But yeah, it's very simple, very classic, but I think that's a good example of where if you made it in a fabric like this, the Dupion and Shantung, it would really kind of elevate it into something more formal and something more for a special occasion. And then I have another jacket, or a jacket cum bolero pattern, this one. So this is Burda 8786. So with this one, we're looking at little short, very cropped jackets, or I think, you know, what would often be classed as a bolero as well. So view C, we're looking at a slightly longer but still cropped jacket that's sort of squared off edges. It's a very simple neckline, just edge to edge, no button fastening, just the type of little jacket you would put on, you know, perhaps over a bridesmaid dress, or, you know, any kind of special occasion kind of dress or outfit. And then views A and C are A and B rather, are a slightly more curved, even more cropped version, even more going on the line of a bolero for that one. So yeah, again, I think that's just, it's a pattern that for most, you know, occasions where you would make something like that, you would probably require a more special occasion fabric, and yeah, the Dupion would be lovely for that. Next up, I've got a skirt pattern. So this is Vogue 1957, and this is a really fabulous statement kind of skirt. So it has this ruffle attached to it that's gathered up, that works its way all around the skirt, and that's really the main feature of this. And for me, especially for UB, the one that's shown in like a red come pinky corally fabric on the envelope, to achieve a look like that, you really need a fabric that has some crispness and structure, but is not too heavy at the same time, because you need to be able to gather it up nicely. So that's exactly what Dupion and Shantung would do. It's lightweight enough to gather up nicely, but those gathers are going to stand proud, and it's going to really give you the drama and the shape for that skirt. Next, I've got Vogue 2073, and this is a really fabulous top come waistcoat come jacket pattern. It's a really yeah, it's a very kind of unusual style, this one from Vogue. It's very typically Vogue. So it's close fitting, and they class them as lined jackets, but one has you know, sleeves like a jacket, the other one is sleeveless. And they have this off the shoulder detail with notched collars, that sort of, I guess, is like a very modern take on like a suit tailored jacket. And they have front pockets and princess seams. So many gorgeous details on this pattern. But yeah, for that off shoulder notched collar detail, you really need a fabric that has some crispness and structure. So again, Dupion and Shantung will be lovely for that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that red version on the envelope has actually been made in a Dupion and Shantung fabric. And then the last pattern I've got to share with you today, so this is Simplicity 4762, and this is a men's or children's waistcoat pattern. You've got 4 different views of the waistcoat included in the pattern, and they include different collar options, button up options, yeah, just lots of little pocket options as well, all little different details. And you've also actually got a tie pattern included in this as well. So it's a very classic kind of waistcoat. Again, something you would make, you know, for a more formal occasion, perhaps for a wedding or something like that. And yeah, if you're looking for a more formal style waistcoat, then, you know, that pattern would be ideal. And to team that with Dupion and Shantung, you know, it would be the perfect combination. So that's all the patterns and fabrics that I had to share with you today. So I hope you found that inspiring. Do let me know in the comments below, have you ever sewn with Dupion or Shantung fabrics before? I do think it's you know, it's more of a kind of niche fabric is this one, with it being, you know, sort of in that special occasion wear bracket. It's often a fabric that goes overlooked really, and you know, with it being, you know, for quite specific types of formal wear, it's maybe not something that people come across every day. So yeah, I'd be really intrigued to know, have you heard of this fabric before? Have you sewn with it? Is it something you're planning to, or is it completely new to you? You know, let me know in the comments. As always in these videos, I'll tag all the products that I've mentioned below. So we'll tag the fabric guide itself, the fabrics that I've mentioned, and all the patterns. So if you want to check out more details on any of those, you know, just go to the video on Minerva and you can see, you'll be able to click on all those product pages. You can see, you know, all the colours that come in those fabrics, and of course, you know, you'll be able to see pricing details and all the information on all the fabrics, and of course you'll be able to see all the wonderful things that sewers in the Minerva community have made using these as well. So yeah, there's lots more inspiration on her website as always. Just to mention as well, we do offer super fast, free, worldwide delivery here at Minerva. So wherever you're watching us from, you know, we can send these patterns and fabrics out to you. We do offer a sample service on all our fabrics as well. So if there's any that, you know, if you just want to see it in the flesh before committing to buy, you know, maybe you want to check the colour, or you know, just see how it handles in the flesh, you can absolutely do that. We do offer all of our fabrics in increments as well, so you only need to buy, you know, just the exact amount you need, so there's no wastage there. And we do offer a thread matching service on all our fabrics as well. So I think that's everything I wanted to mention in today's video. Don't forget to check out Jo's video that's coming to the channel later today, and she's got lots of tips and hints and techniques, you know, for how to sew with this wonderful base cloth. And you know, there's always something new to learn in sewing, isn't there? So don't forget to check out her video as well. And yeah, I think that's everything from me. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll be back again soon with where we'll be taking a look at the next base cloth in the Minerva Fabric Guide.